The G5 is the latest flagship from LG, and the successor to the popular G4, which was subjectively on many people's top 3 2015 smartphone list. Since my review is not the newest on the block, and many of you have already seen, read, or heard the negative comments about the G5, I'm not going to do a rant. Instead, I want to do where the G5 works and where it doesn't. The first thing I want to talk about is the design, which LG changed rather drastically this time around. Moving away from the plastic and being made of metal, it really helps the G5 feel, well, more like a premium built phone. The nice curvature of the phone and glass allows it to sit comfortable in your hand, and mixed with the super thin bezels, the 5.3-inch display is extremely easy to manage with one hand. Retaining some of the design language from previous iterations, it does feature a rear fingerprint sensor, which the majority of people appreciate because it is ergonomic and it's easier to use, but I just don't find it to be the best placement, and that's just a personal thing. One thing that's missing back there though, however, is the volume rocker, which is now placed in a more traditional location on the side of the phone. With all that being said, even though the phone is made of metal, it has like a matte textured finish to it, which makes it feel a bit plasticky in the hand. And those rounded edges on the glass, even though they're great to swipe on, they are more susceptible to scratches, something that the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus actually was really known for when they were first announced. The rear fingerprint scanner is a big improvement from the V10, but it could still use some work in the reliability department, and moving the volume buttons kind of defeats the purpose of its placement. In terms of design, the LG G5 is an improvement over the previous generations since it is made of stronger materials, but it falls short of competing with smartphones on the market that are current, and you won't be able to tell the difference between the plastic on the G4 and the metal on the G5 when you just first hold it in the hand. Now, I have seen reports that some people's buttons have a little bit of give and wiggle to them, and that kind of brings down the durability and the actual build quality of the G5. My particular model did not have this issue. However, my model did have issues where the actual metal bonds together doesn't really line up that good, and there's a slight hump right around the area where you slide out the bottom for the modular design, which I'll get to in just a minute. Luckily, if the design is bothering you too much because of the matte texture or the fact that it has a lot of manufacturer defects, you can cover it up with a skin from Slick Wraps, and you can make your phone a little bit more unique while also giving it a better, well, texture. So let's talk about some extras that are found on the G5 that are not found on the G4, like the implementation of the USB Type-C port, which supports fast charging and faster data speeds. Now, if you guys did not know, LG also made the Google Nexus 5X, and that's where the whole USB-C implementation actually started for LG. The speaker is placed on the bottom and offers average to below average sound. My specific unit actually featured distortion even when not maxed out on the volume. And just like with other bottom firing speakers, it's easily covered when you're holding your phone in landscape. LG's main focus and selling point with the G5 is the modularity feature LG is calling Friends. How it works is simple. Press the small button located on the back side and slide out the bottom of the phone. Replace the bottom with an accessory of your choice, ranging from either a Cam Plus adapter, which gives you some more camera controls, a DAC-like attachment that is only available in certain markets, and you also have a few others, but they're very rare and hard to come by. This is probably the feature that LG got knocked for the hardest, and if you're looking for me just to absolutely dump a bunch of negative comments on this feature, you're not going to find it. Now, I'm not saying LG's implementation of a modular smartphone was good because, well, we all know that it really wasn't the best. The options are too limited and they're just too expensive. Having the ability to hotspot friends might have taken some of the heat away, such as a built-in battery into the phone. That way when you pop out the bottom, you don't have to shut off your phone and then return it back on. You're actually able to hot swap the accessories just as you want to. Technically though, they were the first consumer smartphone maker to offer this level of technology to the public. My personal opinion is that they knew this, and they also wanted to beat other smartphone makers to this market, so they released it without having a fully finished product. LG has a reputation of producing excellent displays. Whether we're discussing smartphones, computer monitors, or televisions, LG hardly disappoints. The display on the G5 is nothing short of their current reputation. The 5.3-inch IPS Quad HD panel is very pleasing to look at. It features good viewing angles with minimal color shifting, an excellent contrast ratio, extremely dark blacks for an LCD display, and it gets extremely bright, peaking to over 800 nits. It's important to mention that this can only be sustained in auto mode for around 2 minutes before the phone overheats and starts dwindling down to an average of 405 nits. This bumps the G5 from the brightest smartphone on the market to, well, not. To make things a little bit worse, when you're manually controlling the display, the average brightness is around 325 to, well, 350 nits. Colors are extremely vivid though, giving you an AMOLED-like experience, and text and images are very sharp, and the display shows a lot of detail due to the high resolution and cranking up the sharpness that LG has been known to do. Color reproduction will be a matter of personal opinion and choice. If you like this specific look, then you're going to love it. If you don't, well, then you're not going to love it so much. In terms of color accuracy, however, it's not that accurate. The saturation on the G5 is turned up to give you those punchy colors, and the white point value is on the cooler side. All in all, the display is still great and it works, it's just not the best out there. The G5 is definitely a powerhouse in terms of specs, featuring a Snapdragon 820 and 4GB of RAM. Gaming, app switching, internet browsing, multimedia viewing, and other daily tasks are not an issue here. Where the G5 falls short is its software experience. This will either make or break any phone, not just the G5. To me, the optimization of the software and hardware combination takes its toll on simple tasks like home screen switching or menu viewing. Occasionally, I can guarantee you that lag will be present, similar to the way Samsung devices have been known for with TouchWiz for years now. LG has also changed their interface by removing the app tray and creating an iOS-like experience. This definitely does not make Android better at all. Luckily, it can be fixed by downloading a custom launcher like Nova, and it will not only give you a better looking experience, but also speed up your phone slightly. Some people will like LG's UI with their older style icons and long menu systems, while others will be completely overwhelmed by it. Battery life I found to be below average compared to other smartphones released this year. I was averaging between 3 to 4 hours of screen on time, which is well below what I was getting with the HTC 10, the Galaxy S7, especially the OnePlus 3, and the iPhone 6s. To sum it up, the G5 is a powerhouse phone, and 90% of people probably won't complain when it comes to a standard consumer market. Daily tasks won't be an issue, but then again, should they be an issue in 2016? What's really going to break this phone is the software, and I really hope LG listens to our cries and fixes the software for the V20, because I am super stoked for that phone. The camera department is another area LG has not failed to impress in the past, especially with the V10, which is argumentatively still one of the best smartphone cameras on the market. The G5 has excellent optics, featuring a 16 megapixel camera on the back that's the main shooter, and a secondary camera that's 8 megapixels that's a wide angle lens, and that can be activated within the camera app. Of course, laser autofocus is still present and has been carried over from previous models, as well as the optical image stabilization. On the front, you have an 8 megapixel camera with an aperture f2, and it's great for selfies, and it's also more of a wide angle type lens. For stills, the camera does great, every single one of them, the front facing, the wide angle on the back, and the main camera on the back. However, in terms of video, things get a little bit hairy. The phone is capable of capturing excellent and beautiful 4K video. However, the optical image stabilization is a bit aggressive, and this is the way it's been with previous LG phones, and it just really gives you like a jello effect whenever you're trying to pan or get a slider shot, which most people probably won't. However, if you're just doing the walking and snapping or walking and recording of a video, you still will get that wobble, and it just ruins your footage altogether. Also, the G5 lacks the manual controls that are found in the V10 for video, but this makes sense. It's called marketing. A lot of people fussed about this, but in the end, you have to understand, you don't want to take all of your features from, all of your flagships and cram them into one phone, because at the end of the day, no one's going to buy those other flagships. So with that being said, if you want amazing video manual controls in a phone and you want a mind-blowing DAC, get the V10, or better yet, wait for the V20. But if you want a phone that's going to take excellent stills, well, that's the G5. The G5 is not built around video, that's the V series. To wrap it up, it's impossible to speak about the best smartphones of the year without at least touching on the G5, whether it's regarding how they let you down or created an incredible follow-up to the G series. I just feel that LG caught a lot of shit this year just for trying to be different. If you're a fan of LG phones and you have the G4 and you're looking to upgrade to the G5 because, well, you just like LG, well, you're not going to be disappointed. The G5 is an upgrade over the G4. But if you're coming from an iPhone or you just want to venture out into Android or you're getting a new Android phone as a whole, well, it's hard to recommend the G5 over something like the Galaxy S7 or the S7 Edge. Or hell, even the OnePlus 3 or the Moto Z. There are just a lot of other options out there that I personally find are better value for your money. I would not spend $600 on this phone, but that's just me personally. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Follow me on all my social media connections. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and drop me a comment. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And go ahead and make sure you follow up in the description of this video because my site should be going live anytime now and it will have more detailed write-ups. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you in the next one. Be easy.